Hey y'all, Mrs. E here, and today we are gonna jump right on into the second Overtime comic. I'm super excited about this. They don't actually have names for their comics, I guess. They're all called Overtime. It's like a comic book thing. I'm not too familiar. This is like my first actual physical comic book that I've ever read. Don't judge me too harshly, please. As is tradition, please don't spoil anything in the comics. I think the third one is out, or it will be coming out soon. So let's just in case, no spoilers in the comments, please. But definitely let me know what you've been thinking about this series and how you feel about these comics. Unless you're gonna bash on the artwork, because 100% like serious honesty time. Like I said this in the last video. The Apex Legends art community has completely set the bar way too high for us. They are too good for us. So I don't think that anyone, aside from hiring these amazing talented people themselves, will ever be able to meet like the standard that the Apex Legends art community is set. Also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button, turn those notifications way on. If you would like to have your name featured at the end of every video, we do have YouTube memberships you can subscribe to and become a member to the channel for as low as $1.99. However, that is completely voluntary. I will still love you just for hanging out and watching the videos regardless. Alright, and let's go ahead and jump right on into the comic. I'm really excited. So this comic ends up starting very similar, if not identically, to the first comic that we read. We start off with, it looks like Bangalore, Gibraltar, and Wraith have just won a match. We also see Pathfinder giving Mirage the "It's okay friend, I'm sorry you lost, you'll do better tomorrow" speech. Also though, we do see Lifeline and Octane kind of eavesdropping on this conversation a little bit. Lifeline makes the comment that all these people do is care about winning, and Octane replies, "Not me, I'm just here to try to survive." And Lifeline says that's the plan. We then see Lifeline and Octane signing autographs and posing for pictures, smiling with their fans, which is super cute. And we see Lifeline call for Doc, and Doc just kind of like zooms over to her like a little puppy, but he also bumps into Pathfinder's legs, and it's super cute because Pathfinder looks down at him and is like, "Oh, sorry friend, like I was in your way." And it's just another instance of Pathfinder being super, super wholesome. We then see Doc catch up to Lifeline and Octane, with Octane making the comment that Lifeline's not going somewhere alone. Lifeline then asks him if he's going to be coming with her, and he says, "Heck yeah, party." We then see Pathfinder looking up, asking if he can go with them, to which Lifeline replies, "I'm sorry, no, the bouncer doesn't like bots." Pathfinder does kind of point out, like, but Doc is a bot, so how come he gets to go but I don't get to go? Lifeline and Octane, I guess, they're kind of like ignoring this, like, "No, you can't go with us," kind of trying to slide away. But while they're walking away, Lifeline tells Octane the password to get into the place that they're going is mayhem, and Pathfinder hears the password. We then see Lifeline and Octane coming up to, it looks like a closed building with the bouncer outside, and Lifeline tells him the password is mayhem, and at that exact same moment the bouncer's like, "Yo, I don't like bots." He also appears to have a headache because he's kind of like holding his head like this a little bit. Doc actually then zooms up, miraculously sprays the man's forehead with, Doc bot stuff, and it's apparently he's just miraculously cured. It's a miracle. He no longer has a headache. At this point, the bouncer's like, "I love bots. Come on in." After this miracle, the bouncer does make a point to tell Lifeline and Octane that there are no weapons allowed in the venue, that they have to give up any and all weapons, and to which Octane makes the joke about, does he have to give up his legs? But the bouncer just kind of like closes the door on them, like, "Yeah, I'm not talking to you anymore." We then pull up into a huge panel that is just basically a giant room filled with people with a stage, and above the stage there is a sign showing the Flyer Liars, which, if you are aware of Lifeline's backstory, the Flyer Liars is a band that Lifeline will occasionally drum for. She fills in for their main drummer whenever the main drummer isn't able to make it. I did do a video on this. It's actually the first chapter of Pathfinder's Quest is where we meet Lifeline. And that is also linked below in the description if you're curious for a little bit more of Lifeline's backstory and how awesome she is and kind of like how she grew up and how her and Octane were friends growing up as well. Octane and Lifeline then split up, with Octane jumping into the crowd, yelling, "Jump pad, amigos," and Lifeline going to talk to, I guess, the club owner, manager, or like the stage manager. She makes the comment she's sorry she's like 20 minutes late because a match ran over. The stage manager is then like, well, it's like he's like pretending to be mad, and then he's like, that's okay, 20 minutes late is still 10 minutes early here. And he announces AJ Shea to the stage. Sliding back to Pathfinder, we see him kind of like walking along by himself near a dark alley, which is, let's be honest, never a good recipe for success. He sees some people roughing around and like making noises, and he sees them and he's like, "Hi, friends," because, you know, he's Pathfinder and everyone is his friend. And the people are like, "Yo, like, we're not your friend, dude." And then one of them recognizes him and he's like, "Wait, aren't you that legend?" Next, we see Pathfinder not through like a regular Pathfinder, but we basically see it like the scope of like a sniper rifle with like the target and everything over Pathfinder, and we hear a pew. And at that point, Pathfinder uses his grapple to try to grapple away. However, the initial guy that noticed he was Pathfinder, the Apex Legends Pathfinder, threw these little sharp metal thingies. They weren't like knives, they just kind of looked like sharp pieces of metal. That's how they were drawn, not judging, just stating the obvious of what they actually look like. He actually cuts the grapple, which I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was like, why can't we do this in Apex Legends? Why can't we cut the grapple? Well, I mean, you know, like sometimes those Pathfinders be flying around and you can see the grapple thingy, but you can't catch Pathfinder. Why can't I just cut? Sorry, sidetrack. So the metal snaps the grappling and Pathy is knocked to the ground, and all of these people are basically trying to take him out, with the main bad guy that noticed him stating, Willis will pay a lot of money. Now, Willis was mentioned in the last comic as being like one of the really, really big bosses in this city. And as they are jumping him, Pathfinder says that everybody needs to take cover because his sensors are detecting seismic events. So again, Pathfinder just being wholesome. Even when getting attacked, he's like, "Oh my goodness, no, careful, everybody's gonna get hurt." It's such a Pathfinder thing to do. Now, as is becoming tradition with the Apex Legends Overdrive comics, this is the what the heck parts. In the next panel, we see another stampede of prowlers. I'm thinking this is probably the same stampede of prowlers from the first comic that we saw. Also, we see a random speech bubble, and I read and I reread and I still cannot figure out what this particular speech bubble relates to. But it says, "That jacket is my blood." No idea who says it, why they said it, what jacket they're referring to. I've been trying to go through my brain and my knowledge of Apex Legends lore. I don't know a single legend that is attached to a jacket. I don't know anybody in Apex that's attached to like any specific piece of clothing. So I leave the question up to you. Do you like, spoilers avoided maybe possibly? Who do you think the jacket belongs to? Super confused there. We finally get to see Pathfinder grappling away after this, and he's just kind of like trying to get away from everyone. We see him land in front of the same building that Octane and Lifeline had gone into, with the now bot lover bouncer saying, "Hey, I love bots. You still need the password to Pathfinder." Pathfinder, haha, he's like, "I got you, bro." Mayhem, and the bouncer lets him in, no issues at all. Next, we see Lifeline jamming out with her drum sets, Octane partying it up, and then Lifeline notices Pathfinder in the crowd and yells "Pathy." At this point, we actually do get a decent shot of Pathfinder, showing that he kind of appears to kind of just be like sparking from like all of his joints. The music stops and we see Lifeline rush to Pathfinder's side. Lifeline is telling Pathfinder to breathe easy as she's hooking Doc up to him. One of the partygoers does make the mention that even though the music stopped, the room is still shaking. Back outside, we see our now bot lover Bouncer, that's his name from now on. He sees a baby prowler walking by and he's just like, what? And all of a sudden, the bad guys that attacked Pathfinder bust him and then bust through the door into the club. We see Lifeline has hooked Doc up to Pathfinder, trying to get Pathfinder fixed. And we see Octane running over to be with them. And then we see the bad guys notice them saying, gotcha. This is when the ish hits the fan, if you know what I'm saying. There are pews everywhere. We see Doc thrown one way, Pathfinder thrown one way, Lifeline gets hit, and Octane's just trying to dodge out of all of the pews that are coming their way. Octane realizes that Lifeline has been hit. He's holding her and he's trying to wake her up. And then he realizes the bad guys are still there and they're still awake. He whips his head around and he just roars. Octane goes after a couple of the bad guys. He ends up starting to take them out and he's just like pew 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 with his fists though, because there's no weapons because the bouncer took all of them. And then while he's fighting some bad guys, the main bad guys grab Pathfinder's body and just they hightail it out. They're like, listen, we're just here for this because we want to sell him and get money for him. We then see Lifeline calling out for Doc, and Octane just kind of grabs him and runs over to her, and he's like, how do I hook him up? What do I do? Except Doc responds, hello friends, and Octane's just goggles up like, what, Pathfinder? Octane then picks up Lifeline and just starts walking with her when it's officially determined that Doc Pathfinder does not know how to actually dock. He just knows how to, talk because he's Pathfinder in Doc's body. Octane asks Doc Pathy where his body is since, basically thinking, hey, if we can swap you back, you can go back into your body and Doc can go back into Doc so that maybe you can help Lifeline. Pathfinder's like, yeah, I have no idea how this works. I'm just here right now. Octane then realizes he knows the tracker. He knows who he can call. Cue Bloodhound, who appears to be praying or relaxing, probably praying though since it's Bloodhound, at their home. We kind of see Bloodhound putting their helmet back on over their face, and you kind of hear you see the staticky, it's a radio call of Octane asking for Bloodhound's help because Pathfinder's body has been jacked, and explaining the entire situation to Bloodhound. We then see Bloodhound walking the streets, stating that the Allfather has cursed the ground and that there is also madness in the air. The next panel, we see the bad guys are trying to chop up Pathfinder into little robot parts, and they're, kind of working on it with hacksaws, it looks like, kind of. I'm not sure how much money you get for that. Probably not a lot. I thought you would need, screwdrivers or something. We see a Bloodhound shadow, but then we hear...
Allfather, give me sight.
With that, we actually switch back to Octane, who is now running with Lifeline into the hospital. He is kind of handing her off to the doctors, saying, come on, you gotta fix her. She got hit, she's fading. He said he ran as fast as he could, but it was 10 miles to get there, which is, wow, that's a really long time to run. The doctors take Lifeline from Octane, but then they make the comment hey, we gotta get to the OR with her. Suddenly, the lights and the power, everything just shuts off. The entire hospital has gone dark, and at the end we see Octane kind of hovering over Lifeline, telling her that she needs to hold on. And that is it for the second Overtime comic. How did you feel about that? That ending absolutely killed me. I was like, really though? Really? I don't know why I'm surprised. Every time I'm surprised that there's a hangout, like a drop off like that. I really don't know why it surprised me. It surprised me every single time. But what were your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget, if you're new, hit that like and subscribe button. Turn those notifications way on. And yeah, I will see y'all next time. Go team!